when I saw my surgeon, she said I had a breast tumour. She was unsure of the size of it because what she referred to it as a ghost tumour. So she didn't really know what we were dealing with. So my option at that stage was I was going to have a mastectomy, and that was for sure. At that stage, I'd had enough information, and I said, look, I need to think about this. But I knew in my heart of hearts there was absolutely no way I would be the type of person that would want to have a reconstruction at the same time. I just wanted the cancer gone at that stage, and I'd deal with everything else afterwards. She tried to show me some pictures, and I just went, no, I don't want to see those, thank you. I didn't want to know about reconstruction. I think I must have, my mind was, the compartment of that time was, we need to get rid of this cancer, forget about what it's going to look like afterwards. It didn't really matter at that stage. The most important thing in my mind was that I was 43 and I had two teenage children, and I needed to get rid of this cancer, and then I'd deal with everything else afterwards. Woke up after surgery heavily bandaged. So that's the first thing I noticed. You don't notice a flatness, you just notice you're quite padded out and things. So and absolutely initially you sort of look down, you just see the padding, and it's really when that comes away after about the first day you really notice that you're completely flat. And it was then one of the funny things was going into hospital for the mastectomy and going shopping for the right pyjamas. It was a bit like when you were going in to have a baby to get the right thing to breastfeed, and it was almost the opposite way around, because I wasn't, what was it going to look like? What were visitors going to think when they came in? What were the children going to think? So, my mum and I actually went shopping, and it was quite bizarre because it was the same sort of scenario as when I was going into hospital to have my children. And it was like getting wee wraps that I could put around my shoulder and pashminas, so that when they came in to visit, they weren't going to be alarmed and shocked by that. I mean, I was wearing sort of the pyjamas, and it was it was completely flat. But then I thought, this is me. But the breast nurses were fantastic. But from the word go, my surgeon said, look, hold fire, Coirle, it's very early days. I knew there was like a soft prosthesis that I could use. And the breast nurse came in to see me with that. And so when I left hospital, that was in my bra. I did not leave hospital with nothing in there. And I wore that then, and whenever probably about 4 weeks later, she brought me in and measured me up for a prosthesis that I would wear in the bra until I had my reconstruction. And that was a very good job, but it was flopping around in your bra. It wasn't you. That I wanted that. I just didn't want to be walking around lopsided. I wanted something in there, but she felt that anything touching the wound could maybe, annoy the wound, and just to, take time. A couple of times it was, it's early days yet. It's only if you've only had your surgeries 5-6 days ago, whatever. But I still felt that I don't care about that. I still want to make sure I have something in my bra. It doesn't matter really what it is. I had a conversation with the breast nurse about what I was thinking about and what route I was going to take. Well, I'd sort of had time to have a look and talk to them and things like that. And I don't know why, because I didn't know an awful lot about it. But from the word go, I didn't want an implant. I wanted part of me to be, I wanted it to be part of me. I remember I was actually going to the Think Pink lunch at the Europa Hotel, and that was in the October after the mastectomy in the July. And I was getting ready, and I had a plumber coming into the house, and I had all my clothes laid out in the bed, and the prosthesis was there. And the plumber came in, he rang the doorbell, and he said, it's just up the ensuite. And I went, yeah. And I was walking upstairs behind him, and I thought, God, that's lying in the middle of the bed. Sort of charged in ahead of him, tried to cover it up. We went away to the Sleeve Donner for a few days, and I was keen to swim and stuff. And the breast nurse just said, just use the foam one, stick it in, bring it out, ring it, nobody will notice, put it back in again. And that's exactly what I did. I felt that the best job would be the tummy one. But then I think on reflection, having looked at the massive surgery that involved, and also the fact that it sometimes doesn't take, that sort of put me off. And my surgeon guided me more to the LD flap. And it's not just, as you know, the one step, because you have to then go and have a nipple constructed, and then you have to have tattooing done. So I'm only finishing that now, and the reconstruction started last October. I had my last tattooing last Friday in the City Hospital. There was no surprises, absolutely none. And even to the level that I was told that a lot of ladies have a seroma afterwards, which is a gathering of fluid where they take the muscle from at the back. And I did have that quite badly, and I had to go up every week for about 4 weeks and have that drained off. She came in with a marker pen, drew all over me. I didn't expect that bit actually. That's one thing I would say. You need space, you need time for yourself when you're, immediately post-op, because you're very tired and you need to rest. My husband took a week off after I came out just so that he could do, driving. I mean, you're told you're not to lift, you're not to hoover, and which was great. I would have got up in the mornings and come down, and because we were living in a 2-story house, I would have made sure everything I needed was downstairs. But within a week I was going out for small walk, probably less than a week. I would have been going out at night and walking small distances just to get out in the fresh air and stuff like that. Of course you're restricted, but you don't need to be that restricted. You can do, and the physio was great as well. The physiotherapist within the hospital before I came out, give you good exercises to work on and stuff like that. But I would say that you're restricted slightly, but that's only because you've had major surgery. But you're certainly not bedridden, and you shouldn't be. I was just glad it was over, and the first thing was I looked down and it looked to be far bigger than the other one. but that reduced obviously in time. I was away working last week, and I was on my feet for 4 hours at a time, and I really noticed it because I'd not been on my feet for long periods of time. So my work have been fantastic. They've got me a specially adapted chair at home so that I've got really good back support. And also I would have worked from a laptop. They've got me a screen and keyboard so that it's when you're sitting, you need your back. My back needs supported much more than it ever would have, but it is numb. You get an itch, but you don't know where to scratch. So and I believe that will come back in time, but at the minute it's still just very numb. The nipple reconstruction was done under local, so you were very aware of exactly what was going on, because you've no feeling there anyway. You could feel the tug, but you couldn't feel the pain when they were doing it. But it was fine, absolutely fine. And the tattooing, the weirdest, that one thing I said to the doctor last week when she was doing the second one was that I didn't feel any pain, but what I did feel was discomfort in my shoulder. So where the donor site was. So it was like referred pain, and she said it's unbelievable the amount of ladies that say that. So she's working away at the front of me here, and I'm feeling it here. But you have to be careful then, because you've no feeling if you have a hot water bottle in bed, something like that. And you literally don't have any feelings, so you need to be very, very careful. And that's one of the things that, the nurses tell you afterwards, that you need to protect it, because you won't feel if you do take a hot water bottle to bed and you're it's high up and you lie on it, you'll blister and you'll not know you've blistered. I've got an awful lot more confidence, definitely, in myself. You feel as if you've got part of your back again. That's the way I feel. And I think that it's amazing, the work, for any lady considering it. It's amazing what can be done. And yes, you have to be ready for the, for the I wouldn't say the pain at all. I would say just the fact that you're gonna need to be prepared for the road ahead. And I think if you're prepared for that, it's an awful lot easier than going into anything blind.